Streisand, I beg. And I now have to explain to you about the lousy friends I made in high school and the decisions that led me to tell you this tonight. Now, the one thing that has been a surprise in this career especially has been Hollywood. I want to tell y'all. And I don't know if any of y'all write, have dreams of writing. I didn't know Hollywood would be any part of this. And it especially helped me with The Great Santini. My father went berserk when that book came out. My mother went berserk. My whole family went berserk. And I had no idea I was going to stir up a hornet's nest like this, but I did. And as they fighting us out, my mother, unbeknownst to me, who's divorcing my father, takes the great Santini to the divorce judge handling her case, hands it to him and said, "It's all there, Your Honor. We don't have to call a single witness." My father, oh my God. But here is what happened. You know, I took my father and I said, "Look, Dad, you're going to like this." And Hollywood did me one great favor. Dad became very concerned who would play him. And my father, an utterly modest man, would say, "It's a shame John Wayne is dead. So only he could have got my incredible virility across the American people." I asked Hollywood to do me a favor, and they did it. They sent my father a telegram. And then it said, "Dear Colonel Conroy, we have finally chosen the actor to play you in the movie The Great Santini. He wants to come to Atlanta to meet you, study you, get to know you. His name is Truman Capote." My father was strapping on a 6-gun. When the movie came out, and my father always believed he was responsible for Robert Duvall's career. Always. And when the Academy Awards were announced the next year, my father, in his happiest moment on earth, came flying into my apartment in Atlanta, flings open the door. I'm drinking a cup of coffee. My father said, "Son, you and I were nominated for Academy Awards last night. Your mother didn't get squat." When my father did the unlikeliest thing, about 10 years ago, by dying, I did not think the great Santini could die. I did not think my father was mortal. So every day I would go to my sister's house, where Dad was in the process of dying of colon cancer. And, you know, all of y'all have been through this. If you haven't been through it, you're going to go through it. All of you know this. You go through these moments you think you cannot stand, of people you adore dying on you. And just, I've hated everything that's happened like that. You know, Mom's death almost killed me. And then Dad, after the great Santini, I'm writing a new book about how my father changed after that book came out. And it was miraculous to me that my father died a greatly loved man. But as I'm going over there, here's the strongest of Marine aviators in bed, and finally I can't think of anything else, so I start tape recording. I said, "Dad, I'm going to do a book. It's going to be about what happened to you after that movie." And I said, "I got to interview you about your whole life. You got to tell me everything." And my father, I love this, he said, "Any movie interest?" I said, yeah, it's the usual. You know, Dustin Hoffman, Newman, Redford, suspects. They all want a part of it. He said, I'm tired of midgets playing me. So he said, what about money? They talking money? I said, yeah, they want to have an auction. And all this for a while. I said, they want to have an auction, Dad. He said, those Hollywood fruitcakes have never had a legend like this in their hands. A legend for the taking. I said, that's your modesty that always appeals to Hollywood. And so we start interviewing. And we're interviewing, and I learned things about my father that absolutely stunned me. When I wrote about my father as a Marine Corps fighter pilot, I didn't know he was a heroic Marine Corps fighter pilot. I heard stories of my father in battle I could not believe. His courage, I said, Dad, you didn't give this to any of us. And he said, I fought 3 wars so they wouldn't ask it of my sons. I loved you guys too much. I didn't want you to be part of it, to see what I've seen. And he described battle after battle in the air. And he described one thing. He was the first group of Marine pilots that got to Korea. And the Army had been pinned down and slaughtered below the Nakhtong River. And he said the flyboys came in that day from the carrier. He said we didn't have a map. They just told us to keep all the North Koreans above the Nakhtong River. I said, you do it? He said, yeah, I did it. How'd you do it? He said, I killed 300 of them crossing the Nakhtong River. How do you know you killed them all? I went down and looked. I said, but maybe some of them escaped. No. I looked and made sure. I said, what were they? Arms and legs and heads. So I'm looking at this guy. And I did this whole thing, and it never once occurred to me when I stood in the Great Santini that I may have been raised by the worst father in the world. But ladies and gentlemen, you did not want Don Conroy to pass overhead if you were our nation's enemy. You did not want that sucker spotting you open in a field. Now later when Dad really started dying, I came over, and the kids, his 6 kids, we said we're going to take care of them like we took care of Mom. And so we had shifts, and we did it, and we were with him all the time, and he raised good children. We took good care of Dad. And I was relieving my sister Carol, who's a poet in New York City. I wrote about the Prince of Tides, and that's another story. But she was in there, and I was relieving her about 8 o'clock in the morning when I heard something from the outside. And I drive up, and my sister's screaming, and I hear her voice. And my sister is screaming, Dad, Dad, you've got to tell me you love me. Before you die, you've got to tell me you love me. You got to tell me you care. You got to tell me you're proud of me. You got to do it before you die. I need you to do it. So, oldest brother. Carol, may I have a word with you? Carol looks over at me. This is my life with my sister. The voice of the patriarchy calls. So we sit down in the living room, and I said, Carol, I don't know how to tell you this. That is not Bill Cosby dying in the next room, okay? I wish you were Bill Cosby. That's the great Santini. She says, Pat, he's never told me he's loved me once in his life. Does he ever tell you that? I said, every day. Pat, I love you so much. I wish I could say the same about your loser sister. But I understand. I said, of course. Dad's never said that to me. And Carol, you have to translate that. Dad is the guy that sent you $1,000 every month because he believes in your poetry. He wanted to tell you he loves you. He can't say it, but he sent it out every month to you. That was his saying. We got to get good at translating this. And he cannot tell us he loves us, cannot tell us he's proud of us. We go back in. Carol has calmed down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here in the South, I know everybody will understand. Everybody. No one